Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 29. Today we're bringing it, we're doing it. It's the thing that no one asked for, but we're going to be doing anyways. We're bringing out some more Stony Suppressor scouts. And so, as you know, as they say in the movie industry, you got to do one for the man, and then you got to do one for yourself. And so you have to go out there and make that silly superhero movie you don't want to do because they're going to pay you $10 million to do it. And then once you collect your $10 million payday, you can go make that indie flick that nobody's going to see. And so, as it stands, as it feels like, Suppressor Scouts is our indie flick. And so, I love the deck so much. I love playing it quite a bit. There's only like a limited number of decks that you can play in any given format, and so there's going to be some overlap. And I feel pretty good about making one video a week of the Suppressor Scouts. And so, maybe things will change when the new cards come out. Maybe I'll find a new love in the meta that we would prefer to make those sweet weekly love-ins to. But as it currently stands, this is my deck of choice, the one I enjoy the most, and what we'll be battling with here today. And so, if you don't want to watch us play Scouts, I understand. There's plenty of other content out there. If you want to stick around and listen to my beautiful voice and life advice, then you're more than welcome to stay. And so, let's go ahead and jump on in. And so, again, we're playing the Stony Suppressor Scouts. This is the exact same list that we took to the Gauntlet in the previous video or two video ago, however long ago our most recent Gauntlet was. And of course, the big things that we're doing here are playing Stony Suppressor. You don't see this in the format too much, but as a deck that doesn't really rely on spells, right? We can really, if the only spell we cast in a game is a single Golden Aegis, there's a pretty good chance that game has still gone pretty fine. But there's a bunch of decks in the format, whether it's something like any deck playing Victor, any deck playing Aphelios. If we look at something like even the ramp decks trying to play Catalyst to the Aeons, or if we're going to look at a deck like Ezreal Caitlyn, just tons and tons and tons and tons of decks that get really upset at the presence of Stony Suppressor, to where this is one of the decks that it doesn't make a big difference with. And so it's not good against, say, like Elite Spiders. It's not super good against the likes of a it's slipping my mind here. I had another good one. Lurkers. There we go. It's not good against lurkers, but against large chunks of the meta, a Stony Suppressor is surprisingly effective. And it's not even a matter of just keeping it on the board for the whole game. If it makes your opponent spend an extra like 2 or 3 mana, or if it makes them drop a Get Excited when they don't want to, that slows down their board presence and everything. It's all in all just pretty good and pretty well and pretty strong. It is the card that I come out here and preach about. And so that is going to be the main difference you will see here amongst all of the other Scouts decks out there in the world. The places where we talk about like flex spots and the things that you can change typically involve only the cards here: Mirai Warden, Island Navigator, and Jin Vivi. My kind of thoughts and feelings on the format right now: you need to be ready to punch in a bunch of aggro. That's your way to beat the Sundisk deck, is to just punch in a bunch of damage as fast as you can. It's pretty decent against the Victor decks. If you can outrace them, or if you can get a single block before they make a big elusive attack, that's your kind of common path to victory. And so I like the early game punch that we get from the Mirai Warden. I like the Island Navigator to really help us get these multiple attacks in, to flip our misfortunes and flip our Quinns. A deck like the Sundisk doesn't really want to have to play its big removal spells on like an Island Navigator. They can't really interact too well with a Quinn. And so being able to get these extra scout attacks in is quite good. And then in the likes of playing against the Sundisk, what we look to be our big and game-breaking thing is pulling off a Vanguard Sergeant to create the 4 Demacia, and then using the 4 Demacia plus Golden Aegis in the same turn. Now, we can only play 3 Vanguard Sergeants. I don't want to play the physical card for Demacia, but Jin Vivi does very similar things, right? Giving our entire team +1/+1 is pretty big. Getting this giant scout for a scout attack with the Golden Aegis is pretty big. And then kind of still in the same vein, as the Island Navigator, her also having Scout can help us get some quick level ups on these Misfortunes and the Quinns. And so, otherwise, pretty standard. Nothing too surprising here. Those are our differences, as you would kind of commonly see from the meta. And so, with that being that, let's go ahead and jump on in. Now, I did mention in the previous video that I'm not going to go out here and just like keep paying the pay-to-win fee and the pay-to-win price. It gets to be kind of expensive, as we get here to this stage in life to where, if we scroll through this deck, the only thing that we can come out here and level up is going to be Misfortune, and then Quinn, and then Genvivi. We already got Cytheria upgraded in this one, and I'm not really in the business of making 30 videos a month and spending $6 a day leveling up all the champions, and so I think I'm still pretty good about just stopping with the rares, letting the epics and letting the champions be, unless it's something, kind of special or specific or whatever. And I feel like playing with the scouts, this is special enough. And so, gonna pay the fee today. Misfortune is gonna get the golden treatment, and that will do it. And so, let's go ahead and jump on in. So let's see, verse player, suppressor scouts on the ranked, and let's do it. And so, I must also say as well, I'll mention it over the next couple of videos because I don't know how the viewership will hold up with this one, but I potentially have a project coming up that's going to be taking a shitload of my time. Not sure if it'll be a go or not. We'll talk about it as it happens and as it goes, but I may not be able to produce the daily content if it happens and if it's a go. And so if it's just kind of one of these things where I'll essentially have two jobs, I don't just have the time. If I'm going to work 8 hours at one job, 8 hours on the project, do the 2 hours it takes to make a video, something's got to give, and the video is what would be giving. And so I'll know more in the next few days or so if I'm going to have to kind of really cut back on the content or if we can keep on full bore at a video a day. But I did want to kind of make some mention. Don't worry about me. It's nothing bad. Here, what do we want? Vi Victor here. We'll get rid of the whole hand and look for cheap stuff. And so it's nothing bad. It's a pretty positive project. I just don't know if it's going to happen or not. But I don't want people worrying about my health. You come out here and get your hand cut and stuff. People worry about how old Bust is surviving and such. But it's nothing bad. I assure you, it's only good. I'm not sure if it's going to happen or not. If it's going to affect the amount of content we can do. But back to the action here. Let's go ahead and drop this Stony Suppressor against the Victor deck. Again, it's a pretty powerful card here. I'm not going to block if he attacks. I don't want our Suppressor falling to a Mystic Shot. But now, as you can imagine, all of the ignitions out of the Ballistic Bot costing 2 mana. The Victor thing now costing 1 mana. It's just a real pain in the butt for our opponent to have to deal with. But here, I would like to get Misfortune on the board, but she's going to be a little bit too slow. I'm going to go with the Fleet Feather Tracker into Bright Steel Protector, and then see if we can't force a good combat on this board. Right, it's not horrible if we get to put 2 damage onto the Ballistic Bot and then have a Misfortune on the board for our next attack, since it will just die to any block it would potentially make. Pokey Stick, sure. And so see, we've already gathered 1 mana out of the Stony Suppressor, right? He had to pay the extra mana for the Pokey Stick. He cannot play Ignition this turn because of the Stony Suppressor. Just all in all, very, very disruptive. It's not, like a hard shutdown card. It's not like we're playing... let's get the Durant Sculptor down so we can get a 4 health Misfortune. And so it's not like, we're playing Rest in Peace and Magic. It's a card that just, aced all the graveyards. And so if you're playing a graveyard deck, you just lost. It's not that level of strength, but it's still pretty tough for our opponents to have to come out here and deal with. Would we rather just add in Quinn? It's a little unfortunate we don't have Misfortune on the board now. I was being a little protective of her. And it's also kind of awkward that, I want to make it rain his board to pop this Ballistic Bot, but it requires a Misfortune to do so. But I think this is okay. Something's got to give here, and I think the Make It Rain is going to be pretty good. So yeah, this is cool. But hand's doing better. You can see the little cut stuff. Don't look if you don't want to see it. It's not that bad. But I found the most wonderful product. It's shit. We should have made it rain with that on the stack so we could attack right now. But something called a liquid Band-Aid. I had no idea such things existed, but it works, man. it sealed that thing right up. I'm not worried about it having infection underneath it. They cleaned it really good at the doctor. I've put a bunch of cleany shit in it. I've been keeping it pretty clean. I'm not worried about trapping in some kind of disease. I had to get a tetanus shot, and so I think we're all good in that front. But man, if you ever try to keep a Band-Aid on your hand, it's really challenging to do. In terms of like the Band-Aid that'll squeeze the wound together, I ripped off the stitches like immediately, and so it's been kind of tough just keeping that on there and keeping the annoyance level at a minimum. But man, this stuff you just paint it on there and it's good to go for like half a day. And pretty sweet. Not medical advice. Do you have to put that on here? I'm not a fucking doctor. I got my medical advice from a YouTube video of a guy playing children's card games. Turns out he was a fucking moron. I can't believe that shit. I guess you got to say it to a degree. Oh my god. But back to the action here. I think this is okay. He's going to have a pretty challenging time supercharging this Nyandroid to get in a big bunch of damage. He's going to attack, so we could probably just pass here a little bit. If he doesn't pass, interesting. So we're going to lose our misfortune. Okay. The key thing with this turn, though, there's like a very real chance he can't flip Vi. He only has 1 mana here, and so it's not impossible, but he's not playing a spell, right? So she should be fairly tough to get this additional 1 attack in. And ooh, look, he comes after the Stony Suppressor. Why didn't he attack with his Nyandroid? Is he just salty about what's happening? You say bust out here, just booming it with the Stony Suppressor. All right, so this is definitely going to be a scout open into a Cythria with the Golden Aegis. I feel pretty good about sending the bird into the Nyandroid, just getting it off of the board, but I don't want to attack with anything more than that. We don't have great attacks into Vi. We don't have great attacks into Victor. So we'll try to take down the Nyandroid first. And we should be getting the Misfortune flip this turn, right? So we got our Scout attack. We play Cythria. We attack with everything that isn't Misfortune. That's attack number 3, and then we can Golden Aegis and get attack number 4. It's a little scary with the Vi on the board, like she's just going to be able to ace Cythria if that's what they want to do. But I would feel much better with her dead. A very real chance that opponent could just kill us next turn if this Vi stays on the board. And so we need to be presenting serious amounts of damage this turn. Right, Vi's 10, Ambush is 2. It's not really challenging to imagine how they get up to get up to 20 damage in 1 turn. Even if it's just like, say, 15 damage out of Vi and then a Mystic Shot, get excited. Like, this game is certainly losable. So I think the question we have here is, do we want to attack with Quinn? Well, we probably do. I thought she was going to be in the same space as Misfortune. That's not the case. Misfortune has 2 ticks. Quinn only has 1. And so I was thinking if we like held back the Quinn and make the 3rd attack this turn, perhaps she would be a little safer, but that's not going to work out. Looks like he's probably going to be dropping a succession of kill spells onto Misfortune. Conchologist. Interesting. Alright. Well, we're not attacking with Misfortune in this one. But it feels pretty safe otherwise, right? Vi's going to get to kill something. The good-looking block is going to be on Quinn. Not upset about losing her. If he wants to block with Conchologist, it has to go in front of Cythria. And then these present ways to just kill Victor. So this looks pretty strong. The Golden Aegis will make me feel pretty decent in the next attack, and then I do like that Cythria shouldn't die here. Okay. pretty good. Why does she flip? Oh, she does the the flip is on strike, but she only does the damage when attacking, right? I've struck for 10 damage, but then the 5 damage thing is when I strike while attacking. Gotcha. Still feels like he has some kind of like burn spells here for Misfortune, but if he's going to like try and kill Misfortune here with a bunch of spells, then we should just lethal with the dudes we have on board. Mystic Shot, yep. Mystic Shot, yep. So he's only got 2 mana. That 2 mana has to stop the Durand Sculptor. Should be pretty tough for them to pull off. Now, he can still just play another unit, right? That's not off the table. But, right, here comes a incoming Otterpuss. But the Otterpuss is going to have to block Cythria. And then both of our remaining units will kill both of his champions. And so, at the end of the day, his 2 champions will be dead. We're going to have Cythria against an empty board. Hopefully, we'll be able to close on our next turn. Really takes the wind out of their sails losing the Vi here. And then the other thing that could be pretty critical this turn is you have to be adding cards to your hand to get the ambush to have elusive. And so imagine that he still just has like another Vi in his hand at this point. If his hand is Vi ambush, then he also has to find another card. Now, the trinket trait is gone, right? He just has the prank. So it's not horrible. He shouldn't be able to kill both of our Cythrias, and so if he wants to attack and get the Vi hook, the Cythria will take her down either way. The prank, okay. No plus cost ones, that's pretty good. I don't want to forward Demacia here. I was kind of leaning towards just playing both units, right? We just need to get one unit to attack through. And with the Island Navigator making 2 units, that's pretty powerful. Not surprised to see this attack happen. He's got to do something with Vi. He should know that we don't have a sharp sight in hand. He's seen our whole hand at this point. Okay. Get wrecked. Boomed it right to our face. Alright. What do we get? The Golden Aegis? Can we do all this stuff? Yes. So we can add the Vanguard Sergeant and then make a Golden Aegis attack after the fact. We just have the perfect mana here. Planned it that way. So planned it. Pokey stick. Okay. Not awesome. Do we want to bother with a scout attack here? It's kind of scary to get a scout attack in, given that he could then like take the Island Navigator down with a removal spell. I don't like that. This looks much better. Got him. Oof. Where's my cursor at? Get in here and mark it a 1. Got us a victory. Good job. Okay, not bad, not bad. Nice one to get the video started. Get to really showcase that power of the Stony Suppressor. That was a pretty choice suppressor, right? Did so much that game. Just completely slowing down what they're doing, getting the hook onto the suppressor as opposed to the Vi, or opposed to the Misfortune. So much choice stuff. It's pretty sweet. So here, kind of a similar deal. I feel good about getting rid of the sharp sight. And then we can just decide how we want our early game to go, if that is going to be playing the Suppressor on 2 or playing the Mirai Warden on 2. God, I hate this card so much. This is one of the ways we will get aced by this deck is with them dropping the Hexite Crystal, just hitting it super quickly off of Predict, and just causing some problems. We can take this damage here. This isn't a high-valued unit in the Feline. And we have the Misfortune in hand. So there's a pretty decent chance that we can get a Challenger hook onto the Feline on our next attack. This is also lining up to be a decent mana spend to get a Ranger's Resolve going. So if on our next turn, if we play Mirai Warden, and then, or however we want to do it, if like next turn we play either Misfortune or the Warden, then the following turn, whatever, we have 7 mana. Looking to just probably use the Brightsteel Protector at this point. We can shut down this action if we block it with the Fleet Feather Tracker. I like it. Okay, now we can drop Misfortune. Should be getting a decent Ranger's Resolve this turn. We still feel good about that. Like, I don't quite feel the need to just hook action. But it feels like kind of a turd of a Ranger's Resolve to just use it on the Brightsteel Protector. What if we just go big here? Right, he does have the mana for a Sharp Sight now. So if we want to say like Ranger's Resolve, he blocks with the Vagabond, right? We attack with Misfortune, he blocks with Vagabond, we play Ranger's Resolve. He can Shape Stone out of that. But I don't think that's terrible. I think I want to attack with everything except the Suppressor. Right, so this with this attack, we would assume he's going to put the 2/3 in front of our 3/2, put the 3/3 in front of Misfortune, and now we can Ranger's Resolve through. Nice. So Misfortune now is susceptible to like a Mystic Shot or something, but we should have big enough board to where that's not a gigantic problem, and we still just have another Misfortune in our hand, and so I feel pretty okay. A non-zero amount of bad, closer to the good end of the spectrum than the bad end. Okay, we'll probably stop here. Once he attacks, I'll be okay to play Mirai Warden, but not getting a ton of value out of this on the board. I mean, it's pretty tempting to just not play it anyways since we can't get both units. Oh, just draw Cythria. Learn from the master. Learn from the master. So this is going to be a pretty good turn. I think we want to go ahead and hook in action. We can kill him even if he flips. And we'll just hit with everyone. Potential for a good Sharp Sight is here. I'm liking all of it. Spend a mana on the Prescience, my dude. Is he just digging for the Hexite Crystal? Oh, I'm going to tilt if he hits the crystal like this. GG. All right, mark it a W. Learn from the master. Just come out here and just draw that Cythria. That's how we do it in Bilgewater. Feels like sometimes she's like the only Bilgewater card that ever gets played. Like you can, I've definitely seen scouts lists where the only Bilgewater card was Misfortune. It's not unheard of. But all right, nice little 2-0 start after playing some more casual decks over the past few videos. It feels kind of nice to be on the positive end of the of the win-loss records. That's pretty good. No Yetis today. That's fun though. I had a fun set of games playing with the Yetis, and so no hate to them. What do we got here? Some tokens. This is not a particularly strong matchup. It's not one where I'm looking to have the Stony Suppressor. They have a handful of spells, but we just have to get some serious board presence on them. One of the things that is kind of positive in this matchup is the Duran Sculptor, just giving us the sort of free block against their token generation. You know, we're gaining that extra point of health we didn't initially have, and so might get an extra block out of each of our units.
All right, let's get to work.
It is one of the matchups to where it's a real downside that the Vanguard Sergeant lost a point of health. If he opens, I think that's pretty decent for us. Yeah. never happy to see Greenglade Duo just make an appearance. Seems a little tough for us to deal with. Oh boy. The squad has grown. can't just take a 5-hit. We'll just die way too soon. Now, I guess it is a real question as to whether or not we give up on the Sculptor. Because the damage on Disbarring Student doesn't matter, but the ability could be more important than these 2 points of stats. Like, I think I'm kind of okay with this, but then, like, she's done, right? This is basically just a landmark from this point forward. That doesn't seem great. I want things to feel great. Yeah, give it to me good. All right. Got all kinds of Vanguard Sergeants. Field Musicians. Don't see that too frequently. Okay. That Misfortune hit in. I would assume opponent will want to play some cards before they attack. And so I'm hoping our kind of turning point here is we get Quinn on the board for 2 units, and then we're able to get a decent Ranger's Resolve if we need to. Right? We're looking pretty strong next turn if we can hang on to our Scouts and our Misfortunes. Like, opponent needs to do a lot this turn. Aurelia is a lot. He has the mana for the Flawless Duet. But we can Ranger's Resolve into a ton of this. So we do have to worry about a Twin Disciplines. That would be kind of awkward and annoying, but we're good at least on this attack. And punch. Ooh, that's it. Nice. Greenglade Duo has us down to 7. We're going to have to do some serious work this turn. But again, we're looking in a decent spot. Do we ever just open with the Stony Suppressor? I'm leaning more towards like Golden Aegis plus Petricite Broadwing this one, and so we'll let that go. Okay, safe from the Twin Disciplines here. Uses it to protect the Greenglade Duo. That's not great, but it's okay. Just like hunting pressure geese. All right, and then we'll get the flip with Misfortune on the next attack. There is an argument to be made to not do this until next turn. Like, this is pretty bad if he has the Defiant Dance, but that sucks. But we still have the answer to his Greenglade Duo here, which is the big problem for the turn. This is Irelia. 3 away from a flip. Oh my gosh, is he gonna have more tricks? Why are his spells so cheap? How did he spend 8 mana on spells this turn? Oh, because the Field Musicians, was that it? Once you summon 3 allies, refill and draw a card? Okay, I guess that makes sense. Okay, so I want to get the Mirai Warden down first. That's going to be our path to get the most blockers on the board. I was hoping we might get some like real Getcha potential with the Stony Suppressor. Doesn't seem to quite exist here. This is going to flip his Irelia. It should help with like the blade searches though.
With me. Today is the day we reclaim our homeland. My life or theirs.
Just the one. He can surge out to either kill the Petricite Hound, that's fine, or surge in Irelia to get a better block, or more damage in. I think that's okay. It's not ideal. But I guess if he... think we have to do this. We have to block everything, because if he's able to Blade Surge and Irelia here, we're not going to have enough blockers next turn on the next attack to prevent the surge. Interesting he didn't do it. Interesting. Alright, it might be a mistake to add in the Vanguard Sergeant because he now knows we can't play a Sharp Sight. I guess we couldn't have played a Sharp Sight anyways because we do have the Stony Suppressor on the board. But kind of painful.
You're easy to track. Not today.
I protect my own.
Sure. Fall to 1. Well, we're going to die to the Blade Surge. Oh, it's Blade Surge. It's not Flawless Duet. Okay. Don't think we have the tools to get out of this one anymore, but let's give it a draw. Opponent's kind of out of stuff, and we have a challenger in hand, so maybe something cool happens. We have 9 mana. Not a great time for the Stony Suppressor if we're trying to get a Golden Aegis play, but let's see what it can do. So we need him to not play units. Well, I guess if we hook the Broadwing into the Greenglade duo, we have to do that second. Let's make some sad noises. All right, you got us. You bested us. GG. All right, so that's always a tough one. That's one of the matchups to where one of the edits I had kind of considered to make with this deck is finding a way to add in Make It Rain. Like I had some reasoning to want to actually play physical Make It Rains that had more to do with like Victor Riven. If you look at Victor Riven, they have this just like gigantic collection of 1 health units, and it plays quite nicely in some of those matchups. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't worth it. But the tokens matchup is one of the places where Make It Rain is pretty strong. Just not enough of the meta to be worthwhile. Here, this is another matchup to where the Stony Suppressor isn't super good. This is the Gnar Darius Overwhelms deck. So they do play the likes of what do you call it? The Troll Chants, but they don't play too many spells in general. This is just about preventing all the damage that we can. Ferrari Warden is okay. Let's give us some time on this board. Sure. I'm here to block. I'm on blocking duty, my dude. Okay, I want to... The things I want to have happen this turn are I want to protect Misfortune, I want to play Sharp Sight, and then next turn I want to do both Fleet Feather Tracker and Brightsteel Protector. And so we're going to take a bit of damage here, but I think this gets us lined up okay. I was hoping to get a Brightsteel Hook next turn, but with the additional unit, I feel like we might have to add one here. It's just like our Conservator block is not good anywhere, right? We can put the Conservator in front of the rear guard, or like it's just going to get completely overwhelmed through. And so it is nice to add the Fleet Feather Tracker because we can put it in front of rear guard, but it doesn't do enough otherwise. I'd rather just be saving it for next turn.
Keep me. I know what I'm doing.
Search that.
Let's just leave the Conservator back. I don't feel like preventing 1 point of damage here is that big of a deal, but if he does like plays Gnar next turn or for his next attack, I would like to be able to just block Gnar. Ancient Yeti, pretty scary. It's kind of tempting to just protect Misfortune and try and get an attack in with her. I think I like it.
My field is yours.
Reporting in.
Oh. Thanks for advertising the rear guard, I guess. He's not doing anything. Gotta get these overwhelms out of here. And then let's just attack with everything. It's fine. Wouldn't surprise me to see him have a decimate now, but there's just not a ton we can do on this board. I think like the best thing that could happen for us here is he plays Darius and then we just play Cytheria, and Cytheria is able to take Darius down while we only lose 4 health. Okay. Right, we can't stop the overwhelm damage from the Ancient Yeti. Well, we technically can. We can put Cytheria in front of the Yeti, but that's not going to be like a really high-valued play. Oh, wow. Wow, he just gives up on it? Ooh, that's insane.
I ought to show you the sights of Bilgewater. The sights are fine. The smells, on the other hand.
Stun onto Cytheria. Okay. That could have definitely gone worse. Let's get his overwhelm out of here. Do we actually attack with Quinn? Like, he can clearly just block Quinn with Darius. But it's going to put 4 damage on him, and then he can't block any of our future units. I think this is still good. Now, the downside to attacking with Quinn and losing her to Darius is she does have a ton of health, right? And so if we want to put Quinn in front of a unit... but I think this starts to threaten lethal. I think we feel pretty good about attacking with Quinn here. Right, if he actually gives up on the Darius and lets him die, that feels like we're just pretty far ahead. He adds in Gnar, okay. So if we attack with everything, he blocks our 2 3s, so he's going to take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. We're going to be 1 short of lethal. Fuck. But we do get to take down his Gnar, and then we have the 2 units for next turn. And the big thing with where we're at next turn is he needs another unit to... Well, I guess the thing with Gnar is he's going to be able to block with Gnar, get the Pokey Stick, throw the Pokey Stick at our face, take it to 10, and then flip the Darius. I think we're okay with that, though. So we're going to lose Misfortune and Quinn. But we kill the Gnar. That's fine. One short, dang. I don't think we missed a damage anywhere along this game. Okay, right, he can send the Pokey Stick to face and flip his Darius. But we only take 4 from Darius because we have a big Cytheria block. Seems like we've left ourselves in a good space. Battle Fury? Oh, I love it, dude. I love it. I love what you're about. Why does it say we don't take any damage? Alright. He has Pokey Stick in hand. We just have to open. I'm going to say if they play Noxus Blast, it's fine. It's not common out of that deck, though. The spells that we usually play in the Gnar Overwhelm deck are Troll Chant. You usually play the pick 3 sisters. Usually play Decimate and Stun plus to your team. Hope you know what those mean. I am so bad at card names. So bad at card names. But, all right, not a bad start. Okay, the Victor Aphelios. Bringing in the suppressors, you got it. I'm kind of tempted to get rid of the Mirai Warden. It's like we're never playing it on 2. Maybe we do end up playing it on 2. All right, I'm not sure on this, though. It's just like there's other more important plays to have than the Warden, right? That's kind of like our last 2-drop, right? If we could play more Broad Wings, if we could play more Bright Steels, then we would go for all of that. But it's not an ultra-important one. Totes my goats. All right, well, we have to drop the Warden now. He has no mana. This is great. All right, so I think we're done attacking here. And I think we're just going to be building up to Cythria. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop the Suppressor, weaken up his hand a little bit, and then pass. Well, is this okay? I mean, I think if he wants to spend 3 mana on a Pale Cascade, it's okay. I think we get in just 2 damage a ton of the time. Wow, we actually get a trade. That feels positive. Okay. And so the things with hands like this, right, this is not a big aggressive hand that we're bringing forth, but we have the tools to make all of our units real, right? If we give them all +3/+3 off of 4 Demacia, they're pretty strong. If we give them all a... we need to play the Suppressor now. He just picked up a 3 damage moon weapon. If we have Cythria on board, then she also turns all of these into real units.
I sculpt what others only dream of.
That I am superior life form. Primed and ready.
All right, my dude, enjoy that 4 mana moon weapon. it's pretty tempting to even like counter it with the 4 mana sharp sight here. I don't think I want to go for that. I do like this idea here of just like dropping the 3/2. I think we've probably stalled him enough, and we still have the 1 Suppressor on board. I think that's fine.
You're covered.
He wants to play a gem into these. It's fine. I'll trade any of our units for any of his units.
My hammer.
Okay. So now we're in this spot to where we can drop Cythria on their turn, come back to our turn, and drop a 4 Demacia. Scout unit is pretty tempting, though. Getting the double attacks, and then even potentially we'll have 10 mana. He's invested so much into this Stony Suppressor. Yeah, that feels good. So how much will we have next turn? If we play Cythria, we'll only have 9. So we couldn't play the Island Navigator. Is there any way to do this where you have 16 mana? We have 8 + 7. That's only going to be 13. Okay. Just like, is Cythria the strongest thing we can do?
To me.
Doesn't really feel like it, but
Join the glorious evolution. The
I think this is okay.
foul great maker. Electrofleeting completed. Primed and ready.
Second Cythria is pretty tempting, though. We could still play a sharp side in the combat. Can block with all of his units at this point. And what I ultimately worry is going to happen here is he picked up double stun, so he's going to double stun one of our Cythrias. That makes the 4 Demacia feel a little bit weaker. Right, so now he's going to have to spend his action to stun Cythria. We get to attack with everyone. And his blocks look terrible. He can put Victor in front of Durant Sculptor. But
Needs a finishing touch.
this is good.
So ordinary.
Gotta get them champs out there, bro. Okay. Does feel a little dangerous giving up the sharp side against these decks. I don't think they play ambush out of Aphelios. It wouldn't make a ton of sense, but it is always, you know, nice to still have it around. Yeah. Enjoy those 4 mana moon weapons, my dude. LOL. So fun. I don't know why people don't just sit around and play Scouts all day. I love every minute of this thing. Who's that? Karma? A little easy Karma. Another deck that does not want to see a Stony Suppressor on the board. Didn't pick it up this time. let's stick with the Misfortune and the Warden. Then the others can go. Ranger's Resolve is usually a pretty nice pickup if they want to try and get excited our Misfortune. We're usually pretty happy to counterspell it. And I don't entirely remember the units that this deck plays. I know one of the big ones is Eye of the Dragon. And so I want to try and counter the Eye of the Dragon with our Broadwing. I think the Fallen Feline is ignorable here. We're going to have the... if things go according to plan, we're going to play Misfortune this turn. We're going to play Island Navigator on our next turn. And then we just don't care about the cat. It's going to die to the Misfortune stuff. But right now, if he wants to try and get excited our Misfortune, we have the Ranger's Resolve. It by no means, means that she's never going to get killed this game, but it's a pretty big mana investment. Now, it is legitimate to even, perhaps change our mind at this point to maybe just play Mirai Warden and then have the Sharp Sight mana. It's tough. If they want to hit her with, a beam, it's going to kill her. A Mystic Shot is what it would get us out of, but I think I'm happy just to slam the units at this point. So it's if his play here was Mystic Shot, we could have gotten around it. If his play was a Thermogenic Beam, then we wouldn't have. But we're still looking pretty strong here. It's a ton of damage coming in. His blocks are all shitty. He doesn't, want to add his Eye of the Dragon kind of cards. Powerful turn. He's only played the one spell this turn, though, so he won't get the Dragon Wing. Oh, he had a time trick. That's kind of unfortunate. Alright, but let's see how this goes. We have the choice here, right? Do we want to add Cythria, or do we want to add the Vanguard Sergeant? I think we really want to be playing a the 4 Demacia next turn. And so I think we just want to fill out the board. Mirai Warden gives us 2 units. We have to decide if we want the Mirai Warden or the Fleet Feather Tracker. And I'm just going to go with the Warden. Ugh, this is bad. This is always really tough when they add the second Eye of the Dragon. Ugh. Might have just lost us the game. That's usually what this matchup comes down to. Oh, he doesn't have the mana to generate the tokens, though. Okay. Okay. That makes me feel better. So it would be kinda suck if he has a Electrostatic Shock to take down our Warden and our Inventive Chemist, but if he doesn't have an immediate kill spell, then this is pretty good for us. We get the Scout attacks in. He has to Concussive Palm one of these. That feels like kind of a win. Steel Tempest, sure. So, I like it. I like it. He has to block 2 here, or he'll be dead, or have a Concussive Palm. Excellent. Where's Ezreal at? 4 targets? Okay, okay. I'm on board. That's the sauce right there. I savored that flavor. Look at this. This is going to be choice. Ripperino, my duder. The Scattered Pod. So, we can make scout attacks, right? But it doesn't seem super worth. It's only got 4 mana here. I guess, there's not a ton of reason to not make the scout attack with our little guy here. But I don't want to be giving up units to do it. Then we'll make the little to big. I don't think this deck plays things like Barrier Lifesteal card, but if you're not familiar with this kind of basic attack structure, if he has the barrier lifesteal card for the scattered pod, we want him to have to block our smaller units. So with the way that this attack is lined up, he's going to have to block that fleet feather tracker in our second position to stop us from lethaling him. And so that leaves our better units down to the right alive for the next turns. Where are we at? 5 and 1, and so that's one of like the common attacks that you'll see. Is the little to big. I think if you're new to the game and you don't know how to like structure your attacks, that is the way to do it. If you just say, hey Bust, what is the best way to attack? Little to big is it. Are there times where you want to attack with your big units first? Yes, there are. Are there times when the order of your units matters with like flipping champions and kindred and shit like that? Absolutely, 100%. But if you're just going to say, hey, what is in the most best way to attack in general? Small to big, little to big. All right, all right. Another Stony Suppressor for our Aphelios Victor bro here. Hope you're ready. Alright, I'm just going to open. We don't get very much damage out of the Stony Suppressor here. And so I want to just go ahead and punch in the damage. Ballistic dodge, sure. Enjoy. Says I better stop and read that one. Why are all my cards so expensive now? Oh, it feels so good. You just discarded his ignition. I feel your pain, my dude. I feel your pain. Okay, we should be pretty strong next turn with the Mirai Warden and the Bright Steel. Or do we just add Misfortune? If we add Misfortune, we can do things just hook the Urchin with the Fleet Feather and then still attack with the Vanguard Sergeant. Okay.
I'm one of the good guys, but not that good.
Not that good. May even just attack with her here. Depends on what they do. Like, I'm not really scared of these 1/3 ballistic bots. Okay. Oh, no, Suppressor, get yourself back. I think this is fine. It's going to be tough for us to find a good spot for this little bird to attack into. Just go full scout mode now. We're certainly playing the Quinn. I think next turn looks like one of those turns to where I just want to play 4 Demacia. Depends on if he has removal spells and stuff, but should be tough for him to deal with. It's just like we don't have much boom in our hand. You know, we have like stuff to refill the board, but we don't have the tools to right. So say here's the problem: we play 4 Demacia, he Mystic Shots our Valor. Then we don't have like a ton of good attacks here. He has to like devote some stuff to Quinn. We'll get a good follow-up attack, but we're just going to be adding a bunch of like 2/1s and 2/2s and shit to the board, and we can't make these big attacks from that point forward. So seems like he just doesn't have the answers here. He just got completely bamboozled by the Stony Suppressor. But that's where we want to be. Like, we lose our Quinn Bird to a like a 1 damage here. If he has like a Pale Cascade, we lose the Quinn Bird. It would be nice to get one of these smaller hooks in, but he should have a tough time recovering here without an Aphelios. Mystic Shot, sure. Show him our metal. He's got to block at least 1. wouldn't be surprised to see some of these ballistic bots go away. Opponent chooses not to, but it's kind of one of these spots to where like you haven't played an ignition the whole game. Like you gotta be getting something out of these.
My shield is yours.
No, thank you. You can take down the suppressor, but Quinn is about to flip. Aw, this guy. Come on, game. Hitting the ephemeral. Not cool. So see, this is like what I was ultimately worried about. We have like easy ways to fill out our board, but we really need a Cythria, we need a Genvivi, we need a for Demacia to really make our units relevant. Just dropping Quinn isn't quite enough. It is kind of tempting to put the Bright Steel onto Quinn and attack with her here. Right, if we just attack with the Island Navigator, it doesn't feel that scary. We do give him an opportunity to play slow cards here, which is kind of scary. Should still have that Moon Weapon in hand, right? But I just don't like this single Island Navigator attack. It feels kind of meh. All right, here it comes. Calibrum on the small unit. That transfers into double stun, right? That's usually the follow-up weapon fragment. Should probably leave Quinn back on this. If he has a mystic shot and she dies to the warrior, that's going to feel kind of bad. Okay, now that he's got the 2 damage on the warrior, we'll hit it with the Quinn bird. He can start playing cards, like if he plays an ignition, then his ballistic bots are going to be 5/3s and Quinn bird won't hit the warrior. Same deal with this, but we do have a blinding assault in hand.
Nice to meet you. I'm Isla.
Pretty weak Mirai Warden. And he can double stun Quinn here. It's not the end of the world if that's what happens. It'd only be a single stun because she's a champion, but we're still looking pretty decent to get the Quinn bird onto the warrior.
Valor, to me.
This is where the double stun's gonna boom us, right? He can double stun the Valor. We attack with attack with Quinn. The bird hooks the Submersible, then he still has the warrior for next turn. Kind of meh. What would the other option be? I don't remember enough what the moon weapons, how they cycle. He doesn't even have one in hand, right? He doesn't have a Aphelios on the board. Thought I saw one go into hand, but I think with Aphelios was dead at that point.
Take your time. Won't make a difference.
Won't make a difference. That's right, girl. Talk that shit. All right. The big decisions being made. There it is. Aftershock. Okay. So we just lethal, right? He's out of mana, has 4 units. Yeah.
Honor guide me.
Right. Hit for a 1 and a 2.
No one escapes
Okay.
my aim.
Oh, he's at 5. He's not at 3. So we don't auto win, but we're gonna have a pretty powerful space on the board here. Would we have won this? Man, we had the mana to overwrite. I should have... No, he could have gotten out of this. We could have played... We would have killed a ballistic bot, is what we would have been able to get out of that turn. Wouldn't have been able to lethal, though.
Join the glorious evolution.
Okay.
Flashbacks will bow, great maker. Prime and ready. Electrofleeting completed.
What you got, my dude? He picked up a spell shield. Sure.
Oh, I've never met anyone like you.
Damages taken.
Little reinforcement at the seams.
Ready for battle. Maybe we should have waited to play the unit. Like, we did have a full board. Okay, he plays Star Shaping. We have a full board. If he kills one of our units and then we can't play anything else, then that's kind of sucky. But as it stands, we're short of lethal. Brutal. So, I mean, right, because if we attack with everything, our two biggest units are only going to deal 4 damage. So this sucks a lot in terms of if we just let the turn go. Well, I guess what we can do here is like we attack with Quinn. She's gonna hook the Submersible. That's fine. Now we can hook Victor with this, but we don't want our Quinn to die. So if we attack like this,
My deal is yours. Patience makes perfect.
that's getting to be lethal, right? Hitting for 7.
Stay on the
Okay.
A slight adjustment.
Oh, we did not do that right. No. We should have hooked the Submersible with the Broadwing, so we could take it down, then let the Quinn bird hit the ballistic bot. Victor will come in on Quinn, and then he needs a removal spell for our Bright Steel Protector. Right? If he has a Mystic Shot, he can take down the Bright Steel. Looks like he's about to play a Pale Cascade to cycle, but yeah, that was a little sloppy. Needs to have a Mystic Shot or a Gotcha or get excited to take down the 3/2. More Pale Cascades. Uh-oh, he snapped that one off. Oh, the Star Shaping. Okay. So let's see how hard we get punished. If he Star Shapings into one of the elusives, we just kind of lose the game. We'd be okay-ish if the Submersible was off the board. Right, we can survive a big elusive hit from like the 9/9 one, but the Submersible makes it kind of meh. You just hit on this one. Okay. I guess we can draw a Sharp Sight, but that is quite the sequencing of cards to hit with your Victor. Spell Shield into elusive. We'll go ahead and end it there because we don't have any way to stop that. And knowing these Aphelios players, it'll take 15 minutes before he ends that turn. But it's a good way to do it. I'm pretty sure he would hit Scout with his last option there. Pretty sure. All right, more Aphelios. Aphelios with Aurelian Soul and Demacia. No idea what this guy's trying to pull off. But I do want to keep an early game presence here. Like I really want to be like not playing Bright Steel Protector on turn 2. But I don't think it's too dangerous to just mulligan away the Vanguard Sergeant. All right. Reasonable recovery.
Only a fool would enter battle unprepared. It's our time.
Got it. Where's our Stony Suppressors at? We're supposed to be showcasing the Stony Suppressors out here against all the Aphelioses today. Why is this guy's board creeping its way onto our side of the board? You see this up here right on the edge? No, that's not cool, man. Yeah, keep that shit out of here. But this is okay. Get to weaken up his Broadwing a little bit. If with him making the block, his Broadwing now doesn't kill Misfortune, which is going to be pretty important for our game plan here. Looking to drop Misfortune next turn, and then move into the Fleet Feather plus Bright Steel. No, maybe not anymore. If he passes and we fully bank here, it's not horrible. All right, bringing my birds to the party. Percentage chance we boom them with the Stony Suppressor. We'll see. We'll see. Again, happy enough to trade the Bright Steel for the Solari Priestess. If he has a Pale Cascade, it kind of sucks, but it's not the end of the world. Totes my goats. I don't think I'm like quite ready to get either Misfortune or the Suppressor down, but we do need to start just like playing some stuff. I think what we're realistically wanting to do is to say like play a 2 and a 3 this turn, and then next turn we can do the Broadwing, the Fleet Feather Tracker, the Stony and the Misfortune, or we can get the Stony Suppressor involved or something. We can start to pop off next turn. Okay. That is expensive. Expensive way to gain 1 health. Okay. So we're going to go Bird, we're going to go Broadwing, we're going to go Misfortune. And we'll try to set this up to where we add Cytheria on our next turn and then have a 4 Demacia attack on our next attack token. But without him adding shit to the board, we should be able to get physical attacks in with Misfortune this turn. Really weird to see them just keep like passing and passing. I'm not exactly sure what that's supposed to mean.
I'm one of the good guys, but not that good.
Okay, he's still at 20. So the Sunforger is not going to gain any health if we hook it way over to the left. And now we're to the point to where he can't block Misfortune this turn. That's kind of fucked up. I guess that's one way to interact with Misfortune. Damn. Okay, then he can't Pale Cascade here. He doesn't have the mana because of the Suppressor. Man, that turn was so much better if we got to keep Misfortune with her being able to hit those units with 1 health. Interesting in these passes. Draw dragons. Okay. So we'd have to worry about a Challenger dragon now. That would be the scary one. Sure. Dropping 4 Demacia. Dropping it just like it's hot. Yeah, get him. Get him, scouts. So yeah, not a bad little day at the office, as they say. A nice 6-2 victory set with the scouts. We can pull it up, talk about it a little bit more. And so it was a kind of an interesting collection of games. I'm surprised to see so much Aphelios these days, but as the way the kind of like meta has shaken up is everybody played the Sun Disc. The Sun Disc annihilated every control deck in the format, and so that, you know, if you're playing Aphelios and trying to do Moon Weapon shit, and your opponent just goes, oh, by the way, here's the Sun Titan deck or whatever those things are called. It's not close, and so it did put like a real wrinkle in the meta with the Sun Disk ultimately being so popular. And it turns out it's not even a good deck, right? I feel like in Platinum Plus or however they show most of the meta stuff, it was like a 48% win rate or something. And so I guess it might look kind of skewy since it should be a 50% win rate in the mirror, and then the next most popular deck was just gunning to beat the Sundisk deck. But at any rate, like the way that the meta has kind of cycled since the 3-4 patch with the Sundisk was the big one, annihilated all the control decks. People started to figure out things like Victor Riven. They started to figure out mainly the big thing in beating the Sundisk is you can't just throw units at it and you can't be slow. And so you either have to attack through it with overwhelms or you have to attack around it with elusives. And then people came out and kind of figured out the Victor path with ambush. And then the way we were going about it was just playing overwhelms. And so we played a lot of Talia Ziggs. I guess we would hit our elusives with the likes of so like the Yordles in Arms Lulu deck, but we actually did not play Scouts 1 week in Gauntlet because of so much of the prevalence of the Sundisk. We're back to playing Scouts, but I think this is kind of now the meta balancing out. I don't think we'll see as much like Aphelios and Victor as we saw today, but there's still like the new champs on the block since the changes just happened in the 3-4 patch. And now that there's not as much Sundisk running around, it's a little bit safer to be playing the likes of Aphelios. And so it's not ultra surprising that he's turning up. It was just a little bit surprising that he showed up in such high numbers today. But, my stance on the format still, I don't think that there's usually or if ever a best deck in Runeterra. If it is, the win rate is so minuscule compared to the next top-ranked decks that it just doesn't matter that much. You could probably make an argument for Azir Irelia in its prime just being the best deck in the format, but I don't think we currently have one now. But that's not to say that there aren't what you would just call S-tier decks or top decks or the collection of top decks in the format, and I still 100% stand behind Scouts being in that top tier. I think the other one that is not getting enough attention is the Lulu Fizz Yordles in Arms, whatever flavor of Yordles in Arms plus Fizz plus Flame Chompers, Lulu, however you're doing it, that deck is fucking choice. And so this is the flavor of Scouts we've fallen on here recently. I think we kind of really hit a lot of good games today in terms of the Stony Suppressor just shutting shit down. Again, it's not a hard lock onto these spell-based decks. It's not a hard lock onto Victor. It's not a hard lock onto Aphelios. But you saw all those people just like not playing Ignitions. You see them spending 4 mana on moon weapons and stuff. It doesn't just end the game, but your opponent having to spend 4 mana on a moon weapon to kill a Stony Suppressor just throws such a wrench at all of their plans that it just buys you the time that you need to finish out the games. And then the important thing with Stony Suppressor is we are able to safely assemble these draws to where we put her on the board and just pass, right? We're not playing a deck like Elise Burn, to where if we play an Elise on second turn and just pass, you're going to lose that game. That game's fucking done. But when we have these games here where we just like play Duran Sculptor on 2 and pass, we play Stony Suppressor on 2 and pass, and then just build up a board. And then from that built up board, we're able to play 4 Demacias, we're able to play Genvivis, we're able to play Cythrias and turn all of those units that have just been hanging out into real units and threatening units. It's quite a powerful to where you have this deck that can really come at you, throw a lot of power on the board, get the oops, I'll win draws with challengers and misfortunes, get the oops, I'll win draws with this random collection of just like rallies, but then also still play more of a mid-rangey game against the control decks to where you just aren't super all in the early game. I really love what this deck brings to the table. I hope you got to enjoy some of the power that we have here and some of the preaching that we've been doing on Stony Suppressor for past 6 weeks or so. I don't know. When did Expeditions get announced they were going away? That's when we started playing Serious Constructed and landing on this the Stony Suppressor deck. But I'm loving it. I hope you all love it too. It should be about another week before before I put together another Scouts video, and I assure you, I'm going to do it. I had so much fun with this one. Again, if you don't want to watch me play Scouts once a week, there's plenty of content out there. But if you want to come along for the ride, learn a thing or two about life, hear my pretty voice, it's worth it. I don't know why anybody would pass that up. But nonetheless, that is going to do it for us today. And so, hope everyone enjoyed the video. You maybe learned a thing or two about the Stony Suppressors. Maybe had a good time watching and learned a thing or two along the way. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.